Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Wilson, your guide here at Simple Scrapper. I am so excited that you're joining me for another episode of Simple Scrapper Live. This is our weekly live show, simulcast to Crowdcast, Facebook, and YouTube. If you are joining us on Facebook or YouTube, look for the link where you can hop over to Crowdcast and participate in the live discussion. There's a special spot where you can ask questions, and there's a live chat going, and there's already some great conversation from the ladies who are here with me. If you are watching this on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in, and I so appreciate that you took the time to watch this recorded video. We are doing these shows every single week, except next week. Next week, I have a conference that I'm going to, but I have some additional content coming to your way via email, and we'll be back at the end of May for another episode. This is actually our third week of Simple Scrapper Live, and we're testing out a new technology this week so that we can broadcast in multiple locations and have a much better participant experience. So I'm always super excited to be here with you and to see what you think. I'm always looking for your feedback. So today's topic is scrapbook kits. Now, many of you know, if you've been around here at Simple Scrapper for a while, that I have subscribed to a lot of kit clubs over the years. And recently, in the past year, I actually stopped because I found that my stash was piling up. But that doesn't negate the fact that I have a love for buying kits. I love to have someone else coordinate my supplies for me so that I don't have to, so that I can just sit down and get going and knowing that all of my products are going to go together really well. It also doesn't mean I don't love to shop, but I tend to be so picky with what I buy that I can talk myself out of anything. And I will put all these things in my cart and end up just buying adhesive and white cardstock. So buying kits helps me with that because it encourages me to try new things and to buy things that maybe I would have otherwise talked myself out of because I don't need it. Well, none of us really need more scrapbook supplies. We want them because we love this hobby and we find it fun. So today what I want to talk about is, should you keep your kits together when they arrive, whether they came by mail or you purchased one at a store, or should you break them up and put everything into your stash? And this is a hard one because there's so many different ways, and I think the number one lesson I want you to take away here is that you need to do what works best for you. And the reason we talk about these things is so that you can think about, okay, what does work best for me? That's really kind of the fundamental premise of everything here at Simple Scrapper, is figuring out what fills you up, what really feels good, and what also fits your life. What's practical for the way that you scrapbook and the way that you want to experience your hobby. And so I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons of keeping your kits together or breaking them up. So number one, the number one pro of keeping your kit together is the fact that somebody else did the work to coordinate it. So that, I often hear from scrapbookers that they shop their stash for items to create a new page, but sometimes they have trouble figuring out what goes together, especially coordinating pattern papers and picking the right embellishments. When somebody else has already done that work to make things go together, you can trust that your design is going to be pretty solid. You have a great starting point. Now, the flip side to that is that, maybe your creativity is kind of lost in that, or a kit arrives and maybe it's not a perfect style for you. So breaking it up would allow you to incorporate other products that make it more you than maybe the person that created the kit originally decided on. So let's go to the con side. So I said it's a little restrictive to keep everything together because then you have to figure out how to store it. Are you going to keep them in a basket? Are you going to keep them out and open? Are you going to keep them put away? So if you're keeping your kits in addition to the rest of your stash, you have to figure out where you're going to put them. And you can't see it right now, but down on the floor behind me is where I'm keeping my kits. It's not an elegant solution by any means. It's like a little, Sterilite bin that has my kits all stacked up and ready to go. So On the other hand, another pro of keeping a kit together would be that it's portable. If you're the one that goes to crops or you go to a friend's house, or even if you scrapbook somewhere else in your house, keeping it together means that you can just pick up a bunch of supplies that you know will work together for a layout and take them somewhere else. Because if you break them up, then you're going to have to re-coordinate supplies in order to have a more portable scrapbooking experience. Another flip side, though, is that from the cons is that having these portable pre-coordinated kits means that it's totally separate from your stash. So that could mean that you're not using your stash as much as you like because you're constantly working only from what new things are coming in from your kits. So that could be a con as well. For me, I've actually tried it all. I've tried it both ways, and I've done a combination of things. In a few minutes here, I'll tell you exactly kind of what I've come down to as the best thing for me and a couple permutations of that. So focusing more now on the break it up side. And I know a lot of people, their kits arrive and they just love to put everything away where it belongs, and they don't worry about keeping things together as a kit. They just love the fact that they have new supplies. So the pros of that would be you end up using more of your stash because everything is integrated and maybe use a little bit of new stuff and a little bit of old stuff. So it's easier to get at all of your supplies. And you don't have to question, well, where are my ribbons? You know that they're all in one place, not necessarily some in your kits and some in your stash. And as I said, it'll help you really use the breadth of your stash rather than focusing on what's new. But on the con side, you do lose that benefit of pre-coordination. And really, if you're buying kits, that's probably a really strong plus for you. So what I've done is that I tend to buy kits and then I try to create one or two layouts before I break them up. I don't try to really kind of exhaust or kill the kit. I try to just make one or two things with it before I break it up so that I feel like I got the benefit of having the kit, but then it all goes back in my stash so that I'm still creating with kind of the full universe of my stash. And there's one big exception to this. When I get a big pile up, I'm backlogged on kits because I haven't been scrapbooking as much as I've wanted to, or maybe I've been working on other types of projects like photo books or Project Life, then I will just do kind of a sit down where I break up most of the kits and put things away so that I feel like I'm making progress in some way and I don't feel that kind of burden from having all of those kits. So there are pros and cons to either side, and you need to think about how you scrapbook, how much you scrapbook, the amount of supplies you have coming in, and figure out maybe what works best for you because it's going to be different and totally unique to your situation. For me, I do a little bit of both the things that I said. I try to keep up and leverage that excitement of something new coming in. But of course, I don't always have time. And sometimes I get a pile up and I just break it up into my stash. And I feel okay with that. I choose not to accept any kind of guilt for the things that I've purchased and haven't used quite yet because I trust that it's all worth it and it's all part of the joy that I receive from this hobby, from taking photos to buying supplies to actually creating the pages and enjoying them later. The whole part is what's fun for me, and I choose not to have any guilt about things that I'm doing or not doing. So this has been an episode of Simple Scrapper Live, and I'm going to check to see if we have any questions. I'm not seeing any here on this page. If you do have a question, you can hop over to the Crowdcast page if you're not already here, and you can ask a question with the big red button. And there's even a chat box where you can chat with some of your friends as well. While I wait to see if there's any questions that come in, I do want to say that Simple Scrapper Live is sponsored by the Simple Scrapper membership. This is our community of memory keepers. It's your home base for your creative hobby, so that you can gather inspiration from all around the web and have a place where you can come back to sort through it all and figure out what's going to work best for you and how you want to move forward with that. Because you can't scrapbook it all. You can't buy all the products. You have to do what's practical. And so we help you figure that out so that you can align your motivation with what really makes sense for you so that you can stay filled up and forward moving in your hobby. I'll check my notes here. We will have a blog post next week kind of following up on this. For those of you who are keeping your kits together, whether it's just on a short-term basis or that really is your plan as you like having your kits together, I'm going to share some different organization options for that on the blog. All right. Oh, good. Okay. We've got a question. It looks like it pops it up for you guys. It shows that I'm answering it. So Honore asked, what is the average number of layouts you make each month? I would say on average, I make about 1 or 2 a week. And there's certainly months where it's more than that, and there's certainly months where it's less. But, you know, 4 to 6 layouts a month. I am not a huge prolific scrapbooker, but I also do pocket pages, and I also do photo books. I do some photo gifts, and I spend a lot of time in my photo library just kind of managing all the pictures we're taking. So I was much more prolific when in previous years, and I think I'm really trying to focus on dabbling in the places that I enjoy the most and building albums. And that's one of the reasons why I have this combined album approach where I have layouts and pocket pages together. Then I'll also say there'll be weekends, times when I sit down and I'm making 8 or 10 layouts in one stint. Often it's because I have some sort of other thing related to that. I really want to finish this project, or I have a class that I'm teaching and I will sit down and really focus. But on the average, I consider myself an average everyday scrapbooker because I have to fit it in pockets of time, just like all of you guys. All right. Another question here. Carol asks, are kits potentially cheaper than purchasing everything singly? I would say that is very often the case. Because the kit manufacturers are the kit curators, and sometimes they're manufacturing as well. They are purchasing everything at wholesale prices. They might even get, you know, a deeply discounted wholesale price because they're purchasing in so much quantity. And so they're able to give an overall price that would be less than buying everything separately. And oftentimes these days they have exclusive products that you wouldn't be able to purchase separately. So I would say there is a benefit to buying kits from the cost perspective, in addition to the pre-coordination avenue. Because you're paying the full retail price, especially if you're going to a scrapbook store. There's often not a lot of sales unless they're trying to clear something out, and you're paying that full MSRP that's listed on the package. And that's always going to add up to a little bit more than what's in your kit, even with the shipping, I think. Unless you live internationally, and then of course you're paying $20 in shipping, and then it might be a wash. All right. Well, that's cool. I really like how this question thing works. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Simple Scrapper Live. I love getting a chance to talk to you guys. A few years ago, I did a couple video series. I did the ABCs of simple scrapbooking, and then I did oh God, what was it called? I had another video series, and I'm totally blanking on the title of it. But I keep hearing that you guys missed those videos, and so this new live streaming technology that we have is a way for me to create videos for you guys that's super easy. And we also have the interaction aspect, so it's even better than it was a few years ago. And so I'm so happy that I can meet that need and connect with you guys on a variety of different scrapbooking topics. So again, we don't have an episode next week. We will be back at the end of May. We're always on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Central. If you haven't had a chance to check out the membership, it's at go.simplescrapper.com/join. That is our really only offer. That's what we sell here at Simple Scrapper. It is our warm-hearted, amazing community of women, many of whom are here in the chat today in the crowdcast. And I hope you guys have a great week and have lots of scrapbooking time for yourselves. Take care.